The Tommy Campbell Show. Everyone is having a laugh and talking about this video featuring Donald Trump's comically padded rear end, and what I find interesting about this big booty butternut squash buffoon footage is Karoline Leavitt filmed it, posted it, and pinned it to her own profile. Is she trolling him on the way out? Because suddenly as Karoline leaves, we're getting unflattering clips like this, and we're learning a lot more about Natalie Harp, the woman who's apparently replaced half the White House staff with a portable printer. Natalie Harp officially carries the titles executive assistant and special assistant to the president. Unofficially, she's Trump's human printer. So flattering. But there's a lot more to the latest woman he pays to be close to him. Many compare her to Ivanka, you know, the daughter he wishes he could date, though I'm not sure he'd make Ivanka run alongside his golf cart in Scotland, unless she was, of course, wearing a bikini and holding a Nathan's Famous. He was also fine with Natalie riding in the trunk in New York after motorcade staff noted no open passenger seats remained in his official Secret Service vehicle. Get in the trunk. Although she didn't get a seat in the SUV, the diaper-changing blonde did make the cut in his recent catering cart cowardly escape, leaving his cabinet secretaries behind as missile meat on the decoy aircraft. Subscribe. This guy is obsessed with loyalty and young women, and this love letter writing lady ticks all the boxes. Even Trump himself has said, all of you will go off and make money, she'll never leave me. But the boxes she neglected to tick were all of them on the security clearance forms. Reporting revealed that Natalie Harp worked inside the West Wing for over 12 months without a security clearance because she repeatedly refused to fill out her SF-86 federal background check forms. Think about that. She sat feet away from the president on Air Force One during classified phone calls about foreign military strikes, accompanied him on a stealth military plane transfer in Turkey, and had direct, unfiltered access to his personal phone, all while completely unvetted by federal intelligence. She didn't fail a background check. She just didn't feel like filling out the application, which raises a few pretty obvious questions. Why would somebody with nothing to hide repeatedly refuse a routine background investigation for more than a year? Was there something she didn't want investigators looking at? And it took Donald Trump personally stepping in to finally get the paperwork submitted. Like, what exactly did stepping in mean? Did he just tell her, Natalie, fill out the form? Or did the president have to personally intervene in the clearance process for his Ivanka stunt double? Most people ignore paperwork for a year and lose their Costco membership. She ignored a national security background check and kept sitting next to the president during classified calls.
While he fruitlessly drains our munitions and oil reserves, the president sleeps through his meetings. He golfs and trades stocks. See, he doesn't want to do the job. He wants to build his ballroom and travel with Natalie on their apparently defenseless flying palace gifted by the Emir of Qatar.
The President of the United States prioritizes an unvetted personal ego booster who feeds him fake praise over actual military commanders and cabinet secretaries. Jon also called Natalie Donald Trump's security blanket, which is a fair assessment, and predictably, the entire right-wing machine is absolutely losing their minds over Ossoff saying the quiet part out loud. And how does Natalie earn $150,000 a year, which is the combined average pay of 4 sailors on the USS Lincoln, by the way, by acting as a literal living desk accessory? Natalie Harp routinely carries a portable wireless printer, extra battery packs, paper supplies, and an iPad everywhere Donald Trump goes, from golf courses to courtrooms to international flights, so she can constantly spoon-feed him physical paper printouts of favorable news articles, positive poll numbers, and flattering tweets because the leader of the free world refuses to read off a screen. She's basically an emotional support Kinko's. Imagine being the president of the United States and needing a woman following you around with an Epson so you can read nice things about yourself. Even Staples is like, yeah, this relationship seems unhealthy. But Natalie isn't just Trump's human printer. She's also apparently his human autocorrect. Except she doesn't correct anything. She has direct access to his true social account and reportedly transcribes his broken rants in real time, right down to the all caps and exclamation points. So every time you've wondered, did the president actually type this? Apparently the answer may be even sadder. He dictated it. What makes this bizarre dynamic even wilder is that she's completely self-aware of her own absurd role. In her first letter, she's practically in tears after getting stranded outside customs in Scotland without her passport, apologizing profusely for texting him instead of calling Secret Service. She begs for forgiveness if she was an embarrassment walking his golf course, explaining she was ordered to walk to save the grass from golf cart wear. Maybe this was a good prank. I love Scotland. She admits she's forgetting to eat or sleep, completely terrified of being lowered in his eyes, and signs off with a dramatic, "You are all that matters to me. Thank you for being my guardian and protector in this life with all my heart, Natalie." This isn't an employee writing to her boss. This is what Princess Leia would have written Vader if she had abandonment issues. In her second letter, she takes the self-loathing to a whole new level. She explicitly admits that carrying around his portable printer makes her look like a hunchback who didn't have time to freshen up, and openly confesses that she envies the other women whose only job is to sit around, talk with him, and look pretty. She notes that even when Trump forced her to unplug and take walks to watch the sunrise, she still managed to forget to eat and sleep. Then she kneels from completely begging for him to cuss her out whenever she fails, declaring, "It is I who is unworthy," and hand scribbling her sign off with a giant black Sharpie like Trump. She's not copying his tweets. She's slowly becoming them. Somebody check whether she started applying bronzer with a paint roller. Longtime campaign staffers and advisors are reportedly furious over her total lack of political experience and her unfiltered continuous access to the president. But what really gives away the game is when she begs to go back to her old routine. She writes about missing her late night phone calls from her talk show days and asks to get back to that synergy, referring to her time as an anchor on One America News, where her actual job was going on national television to worship Donald and preach that the election was stolen.
We can't talk about winning back the House and Senate in 2022 and the White House in 2024 if we don't act on the fact that we actually did win the White House and the Senate in 2020. It just shows how desperate the Democrats were to find the votes to make up for President Trump's insurmountable lead. And they can be summed up in 2 words: Trump won. President Trump says nothing's easy, but who wants nothing? Certainly not us. For above all else, we want to save America. President Trump is right. We don't have the luxury to sit back and wait. This is not an off year or in between year. This is the year we decide the future of our country. Could Trump supporters be labeled enemies of the state? Because they are still afraid, not just of President Trump, but we the people. Thank God for 4 years, we had one who still inspires us to this day. President Trump often says he should have just gone to the beach and we would be so much better off than we are right now. But as President Trump says, nothing's easy, but who wants nothing? And right now we're realizing we're going to end up with nothing if we don't fight back.
For the record, Natalie is a graduate of Liberty University, an easy entry, high-cost evangelical school with 76% one-star reviews on Trustpilot. It's basically a pay-to-play MBA from the bottom of an expensive cereal box. So naturally, when you find out she has the keys to Trump's social media, the typos in all caps make a lot more sense. And how did she get into his inner circle in the first place? By turning a legitimate medical recovery into a manufactured political miracle. Natalie Harp first caught Trump's eye back in 2019 during a Fox and Friends interview where she spoke about her battle with stage 2 bone cancer. She famously told the host, "I'm not dying from cancer anymore thanks to President Trump, I'm living with cancer," claiming his 2018 Right to Try Act gave her access to the treatment that saved her life. That dramatic TV moment landed her a speaking slot at the 2020 RNC, but medical experts and reporting by the Washington Post quickly pointed out a major catch. The drug she took was already actually FDA approved for off-label use. She didn't need Donald Trump, the Right to Try Act, or a legislative miracle to get her prescription. Standard medicine already covered it. But the truth didn't matter. By convincing Trump that he was her personal savior, she scored an anchor gig on One America News, vaulted herself into his good graces, and turned a regular medical treatment into a full-time White House job, printing out tweets for the President of the United States. I make this independent show on my own. If you love what I do, consider leaving me a tip, become a member for extras, hit up my referral links, and stream my stand-up on Spotify. But if you think she's just a glorified paper pusher that Trump enjoys watching pick things up off the floor, the New York Times revealed she's actually texting foreign world leaders on Trump's behalf. Yes, unvetted, no security clearance, and she's into the DMs of presidents and prime ministers. And this presidential fixation isn't even new. Her own estranged brother went on CNN and admitted she's been doing this since she was 16, writing intense fan letters to George W. Bush during the Iraq War. She didn't stumble into politics. She's a serial serial presidential groupie who finally got the keys to the West Wing. But she isn't just a harmless cheerleader. She is the primary source of the most toxic bottom feeder online posts. The Times specifically noted that she fishes content straight out of the internet gutter to put in front of him, meaning when a racist video depicting the Obamas as apes popped up on his True Social account, it didn't come from a formal press team. It came from his $150,000 a year human printer. She has so few boundaries that a reporter revealed Melania Trump literally walked into their private Mar-a-Lago quarters late at night and found Natalie standing there waiting to hand Donald a stack of fresh printouts. Trump allegedly told his staff that Natalie is the only one who loves him as much as his wife and kids, which explains why he lets her text world leaders while his actual cabinet sits in the hallway waiting for a callback. Though honestly, what is crazy to me isn't that Natalie was in the private residence at Mar-a-Lago at night. It's that Melania was. Now, here's what happened when Kristen Holmes asked about Natalie Harp in North Korea.
Just the opposite. Quiet. You're very disrespectful in front of this young man. Okay? Don't you find her disrespectful? He understands. Quiet. Who are you with?
I'm with CNN.
Fake news. You're fake news. You're a loud, boisterous person. You're fake news. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. You're a fake reporter, and you report fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, is there enough food on the...
Just a little reminder that his wife is the be-best lady. We are living in a time when asking legitimate national security questions about an unvetted aide gets you screamed at by the president, while the White House's own social media is weaponized to publicly bully actual journalists. And I say actual journalists because, as I've noted many times, Trump has worked hard to stack the deck with softball lobbying unqualified sycophants. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene's Oompa Loompa-headed, cross-dressing, Botoxed on-air boyfriend, Cara Castronova, the former boxer and trainer on The Biggest Loser, which I guess qualifies her to cover The Biggest Loser. She later moved into right-wing activism, organizing the Justice for J6 rally, and got a job as a reporter in the White House for Lindell TV. Then there's Allison Steinberg, a former professional makeup artist turned OAN commentator. I guess if her expertise is giving people the Mar-a-Lago look, I can see the qualifications. She also went viral for freaking out over the Pride merchandise at Target. And really, so much of Trump world has been cherry-picked from television. Pete Hegseth Fox, Dan Bongino Fox, Judge Jeanine Fox, Linda McMahon, WWE, Mike Huckabee Fox, and Sean Duffy. Before Trump put him in charge of setting records for plane crashes and putting chin-up bars in airports, he was on MTV's The Real World and Road Rules All Stars, where he met his future wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, who went on to become a Fox News host.
We are more unprepared than in previous years if there were to be another COVID-19 pandemic.
We're more prepared than we've ever been before. And you can look at the cytospora cases in 2018. It took them 6 weeks to figure out cytospora, where the cytospora source was coming from for the big outbreak. And this year we were able to figure out in 2 weeks. We've done with the measles outbreak.
Yeah, the measles outbreak is your fault, buddy. And it took him 3 times and got that wrong at every go. Not even close. Cyclospora chitinensis, also known as cyclospora. RFK Jr. is Health and Human Services Secretary. That means he's running the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, and under him, foodborne illness has gone up 400%. In fact, here's a scroll of everything that's gone sideways because Donald Trump hired him. The same man who, during his divorce deposition, he swore under oath, "I have cognitive problems, clearly. I have short-term memory loss and longer-term memory loss that affects me," testifying that a parasitic brain worm ate part of his brain and died. So he admitted under oath he was too incompetent to manage his own alimony, but now he's in charge of public health for the entire country. I mean, do you think that that piece of his brain just grew back? No. He's just as dumb, if not dumber. You have 0 sponsors because you are bought and paid by China. I have 0 sponsors because I turn 99% of them down out of over 500 videos. I've done less than like 5 sponsorships, which is actually hugely detrimental to my bank account, makes me completely reliant on the few awesome viewers who throw me a tip. I could easily be pushing the same products as every other channel, but I'm picky, likely to a fault. But to suggest I'm bought and paid for by China is comical. I make these videos in my basement. I literally have to record around my son wrestling his buddies on the floor above my head and my pug barking at squirrels out the window. Trust me, if I was sitting on a pile of CCP cash, I'd be broadcasting from a state-of-the-art studio, not a converted guest bedroom next to the hot water tank. MAGA tears. Carrying around his portable printer makes her look like a hunchback who didn't have time to freshen up. This is her writing, not mine. I can't even get through it. It's so ridiculous. Reporting revealed that Natalie Harp worked inside the West Wing for over 12 months without a security clearance because she repeatedly a major catch. The drug she took was actually already FDA approved for off-label off-label use. I think I need some drugs. I do. This is getting out of control. Okay, people?
The Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.